What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. White men have a plan to make America at least 75% white. Okay, there are white men in this country who are legitimately making plans and having panels and conferences on how to implement a new modern form of white supremacy because their form of white supremacy is becoming null and void. When I say white folks are not playing, they're not playing. They're white people who are racist. They're not playing racist. They're not pretending to be racist. They're not coming online, right, to enjoy themselves by being racist. They either are suffering for a mental illness of their racism, or they're making plans to implement racist policies. So while we're all having, different useless arguments about very useless topics all the time, during the most prime times in which we should be communicating with each other, hey, look over there. They're literally making plans to do harm to us. They're so bold, they're willing to go online in open forums and make plans to do harm to us. And a lot of us are not paying attention because we're distracted by things that are not important. So without further ado, I want you to pay attention so you know this is happening. All right, this is in fact happening. And the older generation of racists are training the willing, younger, newer, and oncoming generations of racists who will be taking over the institutions created by their forefathers. Keep that in mind. Anyway, tell me what you think in the comment section. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
You want America to be 99% white.
Probably say realistically we could get to like 75. I think we need to like deport a lot of people to, actually have that in, like I think we just need to deport people.
Here's the problem though. It's like, okay, we deport people, but
Yeah.
what does that solve?
Yeah, can I ask you a real quick question, just like out of
Yeah.
curiosity? What historical precedent do you have for mass deportations generating a net economic gain in the United States?
Well, I don't think, like I said, I don't think GDP is everything. I would say
I'm
culture,
not just saying GDP, I'm just saying gain of any kind.
wages actually meant more in 1965 before the Hart-Celler Act. So I guess I would
Do
reflect
you
to
think that was because of mass deportation?
No, it was because it was pretty much all white people here, and they weren't over here yet.
Do you know why wages were so competitive in the 1960s?
Because America actually built stuff.
Do you know why America actually built stuff back then?
Because we had all the factories and
Yes, because we had one of the few countries that wasn't completely bombed out infrastructure-wise
Yeah.
after World War II, which made it incredibly easy for the United States to maintain a lead over other countries until after the Marshall Plan reached its fruition. And then suddenly you have the 1980s where a bunch of people are freaking out over Japan potentially surpassing the United States. Right now it's China. They're concerned about China surpassing the
Yeah,
United States.
because we opened our doors to China. Pretty sure
That's
Nixon was the one who did
That's
that.
everything. My question to you is, when in American history has mass deportations been a net positive for the country?
When has mass immigration been a net positive for the country?
Throughout
in
the
history?
entire United States history.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
but it
wouldn't be
depends where these immigrants
it wouldn't be
are from.
America
That's the
without
thing.
immigration.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be America, but those immigrants, they were mainly, Germans and WASPs that were coming over.
Are you
You
forgetting the
see
people who were brought
Celts.
over in the slave trade? Those are immigrants too.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not saying black people are essential to American culture. Black people have, been in America since America was founded. But I would
But
say
you want America to be 99% white is what
Well,
you're
not
saying.
I'm
99.
mainly
I would probably
asking-
say realistically we could get to like 75.
I'm mainly
think we could get to
asking, when
75,
has mass
like 80.
deportations been a net positive in American history?
We've never had to do mass deportations because we
That
never
is
had
a
50
complete
million
lie. We did
people come
mass
over.
deportations during Mexican repatriation in the 1930s. There's the Indian Removal
but it was
Act
a
of
lot less
1830.
people. It was
There's
a lot
also
less people.
Operation WB in the 1940s. There were the Palmer raids against Italian Americans in the 1920s. Mass deportations are very much a
But
thing in the United States.
it wasn't as much. It was
How do you know that for sure? How many people were
because
deported
I
in
mean,
Mexican
how many
repatriation?
people were in the Mexican appreciation? I don't know. I mean,
So how many people would you like to see deported and from who?
probably
Obviously you want all
probably
the Somalis deported.
probably yes, all the Somalians,
Even if they're
probably
American.
even if they're citizens. Yes, I would probably say about 20 million, realistically, 20 to 30 million.
So if
There's
you
only
deported
11
20 to 30
million
million.
undocumented immigrants in the United
I
States.
know.
So you're
I
advocating
think we
for
need to I think we need to denaturalize some people.
And how do you
I think
do
I
that
think
without
that
impeding
okay,
upon
so
people's civil rights?
past like 10 to 20 years, I'd say that could be our framework. Have you committed a crime? Are you net positive or net negative on the taxpayer system? Have you acclimated to American society? And I think we can do that.
How
I
is
think
that
we
in
could have
any
that
sense an
system.
ethical policy? How is that not going to be exploited?
Wouldn't that
you're gonna
also
have some.
apply to every white person?
I mean,
If
most
a white
people have
person
been here.
commits a crime, should they be denaturalized and sent back to Germany or England?
I mean, I think on average, should a white person be deported if they committed a crime?
Well, yes, that's the
Yeah,
question.
should they be same
I mean, no,
standard?
they should
You're
go to
holding the
jail because I
standard
mean,
towards
their family's been here long.
So
Their
why are you
family's been here.
attaching a
You're-
different sense of judgment towards people based off of their race?
It's not like just. I mean, if someone from Sweden committed a crime within the past 5-10 years, they would have to go back as well.
What if I gathered up 5 women and said that you raped all 5 of them, and then you need to be denaturalized and sent to another country? How do you respond to that in a legal and ethical sense without having your civil rights impeded?
I
and having your property
wouldn't
seized?
do that. I wouldn't do that.
I'm not
Well, of
saying that
course
you
you wouldn't,
wouldn't. I'm not saying that you would do that. I'm saying that what if I use the legal system in order to denaturalize you, take you out of the country, and then seize your property and your business if you had one?
That's a very extreme hypothetical.
That is
I don't think that would
exactly
happen.
what
but
happens
yeah.
when you deal with mass deportations. What do you think happened during Japanese internment? What do you think happened to all those Japanese businesses?
I don't think Japanese I don't think Japanese. I mean, it's always easier to reflect, after the thing has happened.
These people were given 24 to 48 hours notice, and then they had their business and property seized. Okay,
Yeah,
it was wrong in the moment, and we knew it was wrong in the moment.
Yeah. So wait, what are you arguing?
I'm arguing, how do you have a system like that in place that isn't going to be exploited? What if I just gather enough people
Well, it
to
might
say
be
that you're
exploited, but
guilty of a crime?
it might be exploited, but it just kind of has to happen.
Why does it
I mean,
have to happen?
no one.
Again, you're advocating for a legal system that would void your rights simply based off of what?
It just kind of needs to happen. I mean, that's
Why?
like
Why does this need to
extreme
happen?
because America is being replaced, Canada is being replaced, England's
How
being
is
replaced.
America
let me
being
ask you this
replaced?
question.
You're having a different sense of judgment based off of people's race, which is already unethical, and then you're claiming this has to happen, but you haven't provided a substantial reason as to why. There's no historical precedent for mass deportation actually helping the people of America in general.
Yeah, because we've never had 50 million immigrants in the country. I mean, we live in such a time that's different from all.
But the
eras of
country
history.
is immigrants. What you're saying is that because it was white immigrants, it's okay. But if it's black or brown or somebody that's
Black
not
people.
a
I'm not
Christian,
deporting black people. Black people have been in America for, I'm pretty sure, longer
Under the
than my
system
family's
that you
been in America.
propose, that would also make Africans vulnerable to being denaturalized and deported.
No, it wouldn't, because black people are essential. Black people have been in America. That's different. West Africans have been in America since America.
Are you sure that a legal system won't be disproportionately negative towards people who are of African descent? Again,
I mean, the
at
Germans
what
were
point
very
did
tribal.
mass
pagans.
deportations work? I need you to provide at least one historical precedent for that actually.
One
being a
is
thing.
because it's never had to happen. We've
has
never had to
happened.
do this.
Wait,
let me
wait,
give
so
you
it's
let me
never
give you a
had to happen,
perfect
but it does
historical.
now?
Let me give you a perfect
When have
historical
we ever
example of that.
deported? When have we deported 20 million people?
It's estimated between 300,000 to 2 million Mexicans and Mexican Americans were deported from the United States, often without cause, from 1929 to 1939. And was that, would you say that was a negative or positive for the United States?
I'd say it's a positive.
Okay, then why is it that the United States needed those laborers again, so they instituted the Bracero program only a few years after that?
I'm not familiar with the Bracero program.
That's exactly what I'm speaking on, because if you don't have any historical
I don't have a
precedent-
problem with Mexicans. I really don't. Good food.
I didn't
they have
say that.
family
I
values.
didn't say that. But you said that you need to have mass deportation, but you've got zero historical precedents for this. And you argue
We've never had this many people in the country.
But as
I
a
mean,
proportion of the population,
when have you needed
as a
Indians
proportion
to
of
work
the
American
population-
jobs? When have you needed Somalians in Minnesota? I mean,
Somalis,
the list
remember,
goes on.
As a proportion to the United States population, 2 million Mexican and Mexican Americans in 1929 to 1939. So that is a fairly, adaptable model to see what happens when we remove that many people from the country. And there are multiple other instances. The Indian Removal Act. Would you support the Indian Removal Act in retrospect?
I don't know. It's a tough question. Indian reservations, I don't know if you've ever drove through them, but they're kind of rough areas.
Why is
I
that?
think
Because they
also-
were
The United States government has been robbing them since the United States was formed.
But they
and
didn't
this
build
was-
anything. What did we
their
rob them
country.
of?
No, that's
land.
completely false.
Their
That is
land, their
completely false.
lives, their childhood, their women. Read the book "Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee."
Do you know why they passed the Indian Removal Act?
No, I do not.
It's
Andrew, can
because
you
they
inform
wanted.
me?
It's because they wanted access to Native American gold mines. Okay, they wanted access to Native American businesses. Mind you, that the people that they were removing were assimilating into American culture. They were doing everything that you're asking them to do. They were assimilating into American culture. They were running businesses. Instead of fighting this outright, aside from the Seminoles in Florida, most of the people who were subject to being deported or moved to Oklahoma and the Trail of Tears tried to fight the Indian Removal Act in the Supreme Court, in which President Andrew Jackson just ignored the Supreme Court's ruling. So again, you have another example of mass deportation being a net negative on the people of America and the economy as well.
You look at an area, I mean, if you look at like, I've drove through Indian reservations because there is Indian reservations in North
Okay,
Dakota.
if you're going to
there's
talk about the
staunch-
conditions of Native American reservations today, that is because of the Indian Removal Act. You're blaming
and we
people
could've-
for being exploited, and you're saying, well, this is like this place
I
is
don't know.
rough.
It's
Yeah,
a
why
lot
did you
easier
do
to
this?
talk on things in retrospect. I mean, at the time, they thought that was probably the best thing to do.
No, it was highly controversial at the time. That's why the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the Native American tribes.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm talking about today. I'm not talking. I can't speak.
Every accusation is a confession. I will not elaborate.
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan!
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.